Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about knights and magic. Kurata, a company programmer and a mecha model fan, is killed in a car accident. He's reincarnated as a young boy named Eru in the Fremevilla Kingdom, a world where magic exists. After witnessing his father defeating a demon beast in mech called Silhouette Knight, Eru is motivated to be a Silhouette Knight pilot, so he too can ride one as well. During his magic training, he befriends the twins Addy and Kid, and also teaches them his magic skills. When the trio finally enroll at the academy, directed by Eru's grandfather, Eru learns that he can't pilot a Silhouette Knight as he's too young and short, but is allowed to skip to middle school classes after impressing his teachers with his power. As Eru becomes 12 years old, he joins a class training trip between the middle and high school students of Forest and meets Stefania, the twins' older half-sister. Later that night, the class camp is attacked by a swarm of demon beasts. Eru, Addy and Kid rescue Stefania and the rest of the students with the help of their high school seniors riding Silhouette Knights. Elsewhere, a surviving Silhouette Knight battles a giant demon beast tortoise called Behemoth. It attacks the gates of the forest where the guards die fighting it as one runs to the capital to request the knights for help. Back at the students' camp, Eru realizes something big must have scared the demon beasts into going to their camp and witness the Behemoth appearing. As the students evacuate, the senior students Silhouette Knights led by Edgar, Helvey and Daytrick fight and distract the Behemoth. After seeing one of his comrades killed by the Behemoth's fire breath, Daytrick runs away in fear. Eru follows him, knocks him out and steals his Silhouette Knight. After improvising the Silhouette Knight's controls and improving its movements using his magic and programming, Eru rides into battle and rescues his seniors by stabbing the Behemoth's left eye with a sword. Despite help from the Kingdom's Silhouette Knights, the Behemoth is too strong due to its thick arm and fire breath. So in order to defeat it, Eru jumps onto the Behemoth's head and casts lightning into its wounded eye, which transmits to its brain, killing it. At sunrise, surviving Night Runners are shocked to discover the Silhouette Knight's pilot was Eru. Having a fun experience riding a Silhouette Knight, Eru tells his friends that he plans to make a custom Silhouette Knight for himself. Meanwhile, the king of Fremevilla takes an interest with Eru due to his deeds. Eru is summoned by the king, who wants to reward him any prize for defeating the Behemoth. Much to his grandfather's shock, Eru asks for the classified schematics of an ether reactor, the heart of a Silhouette Knight. When Eru explains he wants to make his dream Silhouette Knight and ride it as his hobby, the king's amused with his answer and agrees to Eru's request if he can build an improved Silhouette Knight first. One of the king's advisors tells the twins to report to him if Eru is successful so he may inform the king. Meanwhile, Eru explains his plan to improve a Silhouette Knight's performance to his dwarf friend Batson and his senior and Silhouette Knight engineer David, who's impressed with Eru's idea. Using Helvey's Silhouette Knight as a test bed, Eru and the dwarven engineers improve the Thrandoorkis strength by 30% and add sidearms armed with magic rods behind its back so the Silhouette Knight can fight close range and cast spells at the same time. In the meantime, Eru and Batson also build Silhouette Gears, human-sized mech suits, so that Addy and Kid can learn how to operate Silhouette Knights. With the improvements done, the Thrandoorkis, now renamed Telestal, performs well in its first test run. Later, Helvey's Telestal battles Edgar's Silhouette Knight in a mock match and almost wins before the Telestal mana runs out. Later that night, the engineers celebrate the Telestal's success and Eru thinks of more Silhouette Knight ideas, unaware that another group is spying on their work. While Eru and the engineers trying to find a way to fix the Telestal's high mana consumption, Eru also builds weapons for the Silhouette Gears, including an automatic crossbow. Addy and Kid report to their father about the Telestal's performance, which he in turn informs Marquis Dixgard. Under the Marquis's orders, the Order of the Scarlet Rabbit was 3 Telestar Silhouette Knights brought to Casa Juices, where the Marquis will inspect and test the knights personally. During the journey, the Scarlet Rabbit convoy is ambushed by a Shaker Worm demon beast which Edgar, Helvey and Daytrick in their Telestars are able to defeat. This impresses Knight Commander of the Scarlet Rabbits. Unaware by everyone, the ambush was set up by order of the Bronze Fang, the spies who have been observing Eru's work. At the fort, Marquis, who dislikes Eru for breaking the status quo on knight design, meets Eru personally. After telling Eru that he'll be reporting all new Silhouette Knight designs to the king, the Marquis is flabbergasted that Eru is not interested with fame or riches, since he wants to make newer and better Silhouette Knights and eventually relents. As Eru's friends head to fort to get him, the Order of the Bronze Fang causes a demon beast attack at a nearby village to lure out the Order of the Scarlet Rabbit so they can attack the fort. Edgar and Dietrich accompany Batson, David, Kid and Addie in their silhouette knights to the fort. Meanwhile, Lady Carolit and the Bronze Fang Knights manage to sneak into fort and hijack the fort's silhouette knights, including the 3 Telestars. Despite the commander and the Scarlet Rabbit Knights' attempts to stop them, Lady Carolit and 2 of her subordinates escape the fort with 2 of the Telestars. However, the Bronze Fang Knights encounter Edgar and Dietrich on the way, which the latter 2 try to stop them, with Kid and Addie helping in their silhouette gears. Upon learning from Batson and David on what happened to the stolen Telestars, Eru wears a silhouette gear and helps Commander defeat the intruders in the fort. Elsewhere, Dietrich, Kid and Addie manage to defeat Lady Curlit's subordinates while she herself defeats Edgar and escapes. Dietrich tries to follow her, but he and the others are surrounded by demon beasts until Eru and the Commander arrive to help them. The next morning, the Marquise is shocked to discover the intruders that attacked the fort and stole the Telestar were using a forbidden concoction that attracts demon beasts and turns them crazy, concluding this was the work of another nation. Days later, Eru and his friends are thanked by the king for their work, who also creates a new order of knights called the Order of the Silver Phoenix, led by Eru to research and create better silhouette knights. As a Telestar is sent to the Silhouette Knight laboratory, the director hopes to reverse engineer it and make their own mass-produced Silhouette Knights to impress the king. Eru and the Order of the Silver Phoenix begin their work on creating newer and improved Silhouette Knights with help from the Marquise, who delivers 2 Silhouette Knight Galdados as base models. Later, Nora and the Order of the Azure Hawk capture the spies who help the Bronze Fang Knights and prevent any more leaks of information from the Academy. Eru creates silhouette gears for the Knightsmiths to ease their workload and use Silhouette Knight designs and improvements to be added. After creating a 2-seater cockpit for Addie and Kid, a silhouette knight shaped like a centaur uses magical daggers as keys to start a silhouette knight to prevent another hijacking attempt. Eru and the Order of the Silver Phoenix head to the capital to face the Silhouette Knight Laboratory's Galdardo models in front of King and his ministers. The match between the Order of Silver Phoenix and the laboratory team ends in a draw, as with the new units' increased power, they reach a stalemate against units less advanced, but with more experienced pilots. Sometime later, Eru and his friends graduate from middle school and move with the rest of the Order to another fort to dedicate themselves to Silhouette Knight development. The king decides to retire and leave the kingdom to his son. He then approaches Eru and asks him to develop new, exclusive Silhouette Knights for him and his grandson, Prince Emrys. The Order then produces 2 units with the same capabilities, one silver and the other gold. When both decide to choose the gold one, the king and his grandson decide to settle it with a duel, with Emrys claiming the victory and the king accepting the silver one. When a large group of shell-cased beasts head for the city where the ether reactors are developed and where is the home of the elves, the Order of Silver Phoenix is dispatched to defend it, along with the king and Emrys. With the power of the new unit, Eru with his friends easily defeats the attackers, with Eru killing the shell-cased queen by himself. After the battle, the king finally accepts Eru's request to let him learn the secret of how ether reactors are created and takes him to the city of elves. He then spends 3 months there to learn the process and returns with the king's permission to use the catalysts of the behemoth and the shell-cased queen he killed to create a custom ether reactor and use it to complete his own personal silhouette knight, Ikaruga. The Zaludek kingdom starts a war to conquer the entire western continent. Using their newest models of silhouette knights and transport airships, the forces of Zaludek easily bypass the defenses of the kingdom of Kushbercha. The king requests a duel with the commander Prince Cristobal to buy enough time for his daughter Princess Eleonora to escape. The king loses and is killed, but Eleonora ends up captured by the enemy forces, along with her aunt Martina and cousin, who are also Emrys' relatives. In response, Emrys' father sends the Order of Silver Phoenix along with Emrys to investigate the situation, and after easily defeating the enemies guarding the border, they discover that their silhouette knights have the same technology as the Telestar stolen from Fort. Upon hearing that Eleonora is being forced to marry Cristobal, Eru and his friends start making plans to rescue her, but Cristobal sends Gustav to track them down. Upon meeting Eru's party, Gustav attacks them, but when they prove themselves too strong for him, he retreats, assisted by Lady Gerlit. Using special silhouette gears, the Order of Silver Phoenix successfully rescues Eleonora, Martina, and Eleonora's cousin. Cristobal sends a party to chase after them, but their pursuers are easily defeated by Eru's Ikaruga and forced to flee. Once reaching safety, Eru's party establishes a base and agrees to provide the remaining Kushperchian forces with upgrades to their silhouette knights in exchange for the scraps of all enemy units defeated by them. With these new upgrades, the Kushperchian easily fend off an enemy attack on the city. Lady Gerlit is ordered to launch a surprise attack on the Silver Phoenix's base to recapture the princess in exchange for having her family's name restored. However, Eru and his friends were prepared and easily defeat and capture the Bronze Fang Knights, with Lady Girlhead defeated in a battle against Edgar. Cristobal leads a large force of Silhouette Knights and airships to crush the Cuspertian forces at their stronghold and capture Eleonora. However, he falls into a trap made by the Order of Silver Phoenix, who now possess javelin missiles to take down their airships. With his forces routed due to the Silver Phoenix's superior Silhouette Knights, Cristobal's airship tries to escape, only to be confronted by the Ikaruga. Eru easily defeats Cristobal in battle, which the latter tries to bribe Eru to join his side. But when Eru admits of no interest in nobility, Cristobal falls to his death rather than suffer humiliation of being captured, demoralizing his forces and making them retreat. Eleonora becomes Queen of Cuspertian and declares the rebirth of their nation. As the combined Silver Phoenix and Cuspertian forces retake their lands, Zaludek's top scientist promises Princess Catalina that he'll build a new weapon to avenge her brother's death. Months later, the Silver Phoenix and Cuspertian forces finally retake a fortress held by Zaludek, but a giant airship shaped like a drake attacks them. The Zaludek's newest weapon battles the Ikaruga, whose captain Doroteo wants to avenge Cristobal's death. Meanwhile, a Zaludek force led by Doroteo's son Gustavo battles Daytrick and his men, but Gustavo is forced to abandon his Silhouette Knight after Daytrick tricks him into exhausting his mana supply. Eru is unable to take down the Drake due to his defenses and is forced to land the Ikaruga after the Drake damages its jet engines. The Drake is forced to withdraw after exhausting its mana trying to destroy the Ikaruga. As Eru and his allies withdraw, Prince Cristobal's scientist repairs and installs a bigger ether reactor in the Drake to give it more power, and Gustavo receives the Zaludek's royal family Silhouette Knight by Princess Catalina. Meanwhile, after discussing their battle plans, the Silver Phoenix and Cuspertians agree to Eleonora's strategy, where she'll lead the entire Cuspertian army to recapture their capital, while Eru and the Silver Phoenix Knights battle the Drake. As the Cuspertians fight the Zaludeks at the last fortress that leads to the capital, the Drake arrives with the scientist on board to attack Eleonora's position, only to discover Eru has repaired and improved a captured airship to fight them. After drawing the Drake away from the battlefield, Eru's party launches an attack with javelin missiles loaded with oil that, once ignited, surround the enemy ships in flames. In response, Doroteo activates the Drake's Dragon Blood reactor that surrounds it with a massive energy field. Meanwhile, on land, an infiltration party hijacks the drawbridge controls, allowing the Cuspertian forces to invade, while Gustavo is defeated by Edgar with Emrys' help. Back in the sky, Eru breaks through the Drake's energy shield and attacks it directly, defeating it. In a last effort, Doroteo takes control of the Drake and attempts to ram it on the base camp to kill Eleonora, but Eru and Kid stop him, taking down the Drake for good. After the battle, the Cuspertian forces take control of the capital and Catalina poisons herself to death to avoid capture, thus ending the war with Zaludeks defeated and Eleonora recognized as Cuspertia's de facto ruler. Back to Flemevilla, the king commends the Order of Silver Phoenix for their efforts and awards Eru with his own laboratory, while the airship technology is spread along the neighbouring countries, ushering a new era of trade and transportation across the continent. So, this is it for today's video. If you like the video, give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Farewell till next time.